Well, thank you everyone for coming. And for those of you that are watching the recording, thank you for watching the recording. I'm Suzanne Clausen. I'm the owner of CruiseOne in Show Low, Arizona. And we are part of World Travel Holdings, which is the #1 retailer of cruises in North America. My husband and I own our own franchise, and we've been in business for 10 years. We're just celebrating our 10th anniversary with the franchise. And I have won a couple of awards for my salesmanship and my community service. And in 2020 and 2021, I decided to invest in myself and do some professional development. And I earned my Master Cruise Counselor certification from Cruise Line International Association. And in 2022, we are ranked among the top 2% of all the CruiseOne Dream Vacations franchises nationwide. This is something I really, really believe in. I love traveling, and I think cruising is the best way to travel. We have been on 12 cruises since August of last year. It's been a really, really great year for cruising, and the demand is there. I am seeing my business just go crazy because all the people that didn't travel during the pandemic are now booking their dream vacations. I myself have been cruising for 47 years. I've been on 47 different cruises. I've been to all 7 continents and 65 different unique countries and destinations. And that's not to brag, but it's more to tell you that I have a lot of firsthand experience with cruises and destinations. So I'm able to give you that inside help that someone who doesn't cruise frequently wouldn't have the ability to do. A couple of advantages of working with my agency. I'm not going to read this whole thing. It's kind of an eye chart, but I want you to know that when you work with me, you have a personal advocate on your side that is going to make sure that you get the best price, the best deal. And I am always there to support you. And I'll tell you a secret that a lot of people don't know about the cruise business is that you will never pay more working through a travel agency than you will booking directly with the cruise line. It doesn't save you any money to go direct. We work for you, our clients, but we get paid by the cruise line. And that commission is built into the price of the cruise, whether you utilize my excellent service and firsthand knowledge and personalized cruise planning services, or you just go online and you book it directly with the cruise line. So it's much better to work with us. And quite often we have access to cabins that aren't available and pricing that's not available directly through the cruise line. So often we can get you a better deal or get you something you can't get directly through the cruise line. I love to work with Celebrity Cruises because they have one of the highest client satisfaction ratings in the cruise industry. They've won numerous awards. I think I could have filled this page with about 27 of these different awards that they have won. Their branding is that they are new luxury. That is a simplified approach to pampering, culinary exploration, wellness, and diversity. They pay a lot of attention to making sure that you have that destination enrichment, that you're learning about the destination, and they have a really good lecture series on board the ship. For whatever itinerary you're on, they will have somebody who is an expert that will be able to tell you all about that destination. And they do the same with their shore excursions. So when you go ashore, they're making sure that you're getting the best experience possible. They have a lot of details to the design of the ship. Their ships are beautifully appointed, and they have just amazing, attentive, and unobtrusive service. We feel so pampered when we're on Celebrity. They also really want to make your whole cruise experience a culinary adventure. They have international foods in the Ocean View Cafe, which is their quick service place, as well as in the main dining room. The quality of the food and the procedures that they have set up to maintain the quality of the food are really amazing. They really go that next level. So the dining experience on Celebrity is one of the best in the business. They also try to weave wellness into it. They have some classes of cabin that have access to the spa. They have great spa services, and they even try to have some healthy menu items as well to make sure that they're incorporating it into every aspect of the cruise. Now, there's a couple different ways to book Celebrity cruises. You can book the all-included rates or the no-perk rates. But the best thing is that the few cabins that I have left are at my group rates, which means they include the drinks, the gratuities, and the Wi-Fi already included in the price of the cruise. And some of them even have some additional onboard credit. So when it comes to booking a cruise, I always say we can compare the all-included rates and the no-perks rate. But in this case, on this particular cruise, the only rates that are available in these balcony cabins are my group rates because it is sold out directly with Celebrity, and they are very good rates. So we'll get to that in a little bit. So let's talk about the cruise. Some of the highlights is that the cruise departs from beautiful Buenos Aires, Argentina. We're going to visit the most southern city in the world, Ushuaia, and then we'll enjoy some scenic sailing along many of the different areas of that Antarctic peninsula. We'll go through the Beagle Channel and by Cape Horn, and then we'll cruise through several different scenic areas where we'll see icebergs and glaciers and mountains in Antarctica. And then we'll settle into Paradise Bay, where you're completely surrounded by the continent of Antarctica on all sides. We'll have a chance to see penguins and learn about history in the Falkland Islands. And then we'll also have some additional wildlife viewing opportunities in Puerto Madryn, Argentina. And then we'll be able to do some wine tasting in Montevideo. Our wine hosts who are on this call with us are Kevin and Carol Wilhelm. They own Wilhelm Family Vineyards in Elgin, Arizona. And they are the leading boutique maker of Spanish-style wines in Arizona. They also own Tierra Alta Bistro and Wine Bar in Tucson, Arizona. And this cruise is for, what I'm gonna say, some of their wine club members are coming, but it's not exclusively for wine club members. It's a chance for everyone to learn about wine. And in our onboard wine tasting program, everyone that is in my group and only people in my group are invited to our exclusive onboard programming, which is a full wine tasting and wine appreciation program. Here's some pictures of us on one of our past cruises. We did one to Iceland and Ireland, and Carol is a graduate of the prestigious UC Davis Winemakers program, and she loves to share her knowledge about wine in her presentations. And they actually get to ship their own wine to the cruise ship, and we utilize their wine for our tasting program. So it makes it a really unique experience. Let's talk about our group amenities. We have a meet and greet reception for all of our guests. We have 2 private wine tasting seminars. And my favorite is the private food and wine pairing lunching in the Tuscan Grill. That's a specialty dining experience. All these things are included at no extra charge and are complimentary for members of our guests in our group, excuse me. We also are going to have some private tours and shore excursions. These are organized by me. They are at an extra charge and they're optional, but I'll talk about those in a little bit. And we have great group fun. Here's just some pictures of our previous wine cruises. Everybody's happy. Everybody's having a good time. There's some of our tasting events that we did on board. And here's some of our shore excursions that we did on some of our past cruises. Here's some pictures of us at that 4-course food and wine pairing luncheon in the Tuscan Grill. So now let's move on to the itinerary. So again, it is round trip Buenos Aires, 14-night Antarctica. We have a couple days at sea, then we visit Ushuaia, and then we start our Antarctic scenic sailing days, and we're going to see some of the most amazing places in Antarctica, all from the comfort of our beautiful ship. Even if it's freezing cold in Antarctica, we'll be on the ship where we're warm and cozy. Then we go to the Falkland Islands, Puerto Madryn, Argentina, and Montevideo, Uruguay. Well, let's talk a little bit about each of the ports. So our first port is Buenos Aires. So in Buenos Aires, I have arranged, and I'm kind of doing this chronologically. Once you arrive in Buenos Aires, I have a shuttle company, and you are welcome to book your transfers, through me. And those are just some prices that we have for the transfers. And it's based on when everybody's arriving. So I have some flights that we have 10 or more people arriving on the flights at the same time. So their shuttle price is just $25 a person. I have a group rate at the Hilton Buenos Aires Hotel. This is a lovely, lovely hotel. It's right in the heart of the Puerto Madero area. It has a lot of really nice amenities. And here's the area that it's located in. It is the old port, but that in the early 2000s, that area was redeveloped as a luxury high-rise condo area, luxury dining and shopping in that area. So beautiful place to enjoy Buenos Aires. And there's a picture of that Puente de la Mujer bridge that we took a picture of after we finished eating. Here's an example of a place that we went to eat in that area. Amazing Argentinian beef available. And I just grabbed from, I believe this is from TripAdvisor or just some of the recommended restaurants. I think this El Mercado, I know one of these restaurants that's recommended is right in the Hilton Buenos Aires Hotel. So some wonderful places where you go out to eat that first night. I do recommend that you come in at least one night early. I do have the hotel for 3 nights though. So you can book 1, 2, or 3 nights pre-cruise at the hotel. I will have a bus transfer. This is additional $15 per person from the hotel to the cruise port. And we have one at 11 a.m. that's going to be for the concierge class and higher cabins, and then one at noon for the standard balcony cabins. I had to split it up into 35 and 35, and those numbers worked about just perfect. So it made sense because the concierge and higher cabins have priority embarkation once we get to the cruise pier. I also have a post-cruise tour organized. There are 2 tours, and it depends on what time your flight is, which one you want to book. The reason I organize this is because all the flights going back home from Buenos Aires are at 8 p.m., 9 p.m., 11 p.m., midnight. And the airlines do not open their desk to like check in your luggage until 3 hours before their first flight. So if you get off the ship 9 a.m. and get to the airport at 10 a.m., you have to stand with your luggage in the airport for hours until the airline opens up the check-in. So it's much better to enjoy your day, have a full day in Buenos Aires, and then we'll drop you off at the airport in plenty of time to check in your luggage and board your plane. And if you're in the second group, which is for people who have the later departures, I've arranged a buffet meal at a local restaurant. Most of the restaurants are not open at 5 p.m., which is around the time. So it's going to be a special event just for the people in my tour group that are on that second bus. Our first stop on the cruise is Ushuaia, Argentina. This is the southernmost city in the world. And here's some pictures I took when we were there in 2020. Just to give you a little idea of where it's located, it is located where that green arrow is on the Beagle Channel. And the Beagle Channel is different from the Straits of Magellan, which you see what that yellow arrow is pointing to. So we will come down through the tip of the island here and then come back through the Beagle Channel to Ushuaia, Argentina. Ushuaia is a lovely tourist town. Of course, in the summertime, it is people coming to see the beautiful scenery. In the wintertime, it's actually a ski resort in Argentina. And Argentina has a huge population of Italian immigrants or people with Italian ancestry. So this is an example of some Italian food we had in Ushuaia, Argentina, and just kind of what the streets and the shopping area looks like there. Ushuaia is a wonderful place to dine out. Hang on, my screen is frozen up. I hope it doesn't click twice. Anyway, lots of, really, really nice restaurants. You can get Italian food, Argentine steak, seafood. So if you want to just enjoy your day relaxing in Ushuaia, there's an opportunity to get some great Italian food. Next is some of the shore excursions that are available in Ushuaia. The 2 that I probably recommend the most would be this cruise to the Beagle Channel, where you visit this island where you have all of these sea lions and birds. A lot of people also like to take a tour of the Tierra del Fuego National Park, which is one of the most beautiful and scenic areas in Argentina. You can do that also by way of the train. There's some excursions to go see penguins, so lots of different things. But when we were there in 2020, we did the Beagle Channel cruise to that sea lion island. And these are some of my own pictures that I actually took on that day. And I want to give you an idea of what the catamarans look like. So actually, the boat that go up. And of course, the south there you can see just behind us It's about the beautiful scenery. Now, I said to my husband and our friends that we're traveling with, I was like, wonder if we would have a beautiful sunset tonight. We're going to be on the back of the ship. We're going to be sailing away right during dinner time. Let's order room service and just sit in the back of the ship and watch us sail away. And we were treated to these spectacular sunsets. There is no CGI, no retouching. This is the way my camera took these pictures. So from there, the next morning, we go to Cape Horn. And we do a little bit of a scenic sailing. There's a narration as we pass by there. We get to see that area that has become so famous. So then we cross the Drake Passage, the Southern Ocean. And the next day, you are in beautiful Antarctica, where you have this beautiful scenery. Now, this was on a Solstice class ship, so it does have a lawn club. Our ship is a Millennium class ship. So they have an area up top that is called the rooftop terrace, I think is what it's called. It's a big open area on top of the ship too, where you can see the beautiful scenery. So I'll just kind of show you the area of Antarctica that we will go to. Most of Antarctica is covered in ice. And where you see that little red dot, that's the part that we're going to visit. That's Paradise Bay. And this is a great place to see icebergs, whales, penguins, mountains, glaciers, and more. And I'll show you a little bit of what the scenic sailing looks like.
Okay, this is our view this morning. Is it still morning? It's still morning in Antarctica. It is absolutely stunning.
And we were so blessed to have a beautiful day. Part of the day was a little cloudy, but the scenery was just equally dramatic and so many icebergs. So it was absolutely amazing. I have another little video. This is actually when we were in Paradise Bay after the clouds came in a little bit. Again, you see all those incredible glaciers. You're just really completely surrounded by Antarctica. To see that bay is, I believe, it's like a collapsed volcanic crater. So it's all the way around you in a circle. Like I said, we had sunny weather, and I joked about it. I said, "Oh, I'm now an Instagram swimsuit model," because I decided to put on my swimsuit, take a picture of me in Antarctica. No, with the boots, and I have the hat with the little ear warmers and everything. A beautiful day. And celebrity makes it fun in any kind of weather. This next one is I'm gonna switch over this slide. These are folks doing this little like line dance thing, and they have on the silent disco headphones because you can't have a lot of loud noise in Paradise Bay. So they're just dancing around and there's no music playing. It was just really incredible. Everybody was just enjoying the hot tubs, walking around. You can see, just what it looked like that beautiful day in Paradise Bay. So the next day we head over to Elephant Island. And the interesting thing about Elephant Island, it is where the folks that had been on the Shackleton expedition took refuge after their ship broke apart and collapsed, and they only had their boats. The next slide I'm going to show you shows their journey. They were trapped in pack ice for over a year. They made it to Elephant Island, and then I think 9 of them got in one of the little boats and sailed to South Georgia to request a rescue. So next is just some pictures that a video that I took when we were off the coast of Elephant Island. You hang out there for like 3 or 4 hours, so you can really get a good idea of what the island looks like. And again, you see the people in the hot tubs, you see that beautiful ship, and that stark background of the Antarctic islands behind us. So from there, you have a day at sea. Then you head over to the Falkland Islands. I loved the Falkland Islands. I love that it was so British. There's lots of things to do, lots of different opportunities to see penguins. The one that I really love is the Bluff Cove Lagoon because it is the closest to the ship. It's only a 3-hour tour. There's a couple of penguin excursions that are like 8 hours on this cruise. And I love the Bluff Cove because it's a short, like 30-minute drive. Then you get about an hour and a half viewing the penguins. There's a little cafe there. You get complimentary tea and snack treats. And so I have arranged a group tour to Bluff Cove. Now this is sold out directly with celebrity. It can only be booked by people in my group. I have two departure times, so I actually have buses. So we have about 70 people in the group, and each bus will hold 35. So there is room for everybody in my group on this tour. We have an 11:30 and a 1:30 time. Here's some videos that I took when we were there in 2020 of the king penguins.
I'm not rude.
These king penguins are the most accessible colony of king penguins in the world. There's only a few of them, and the folks in the Falkland Islands said, yeah, they just showed up one day and decided this is where they were going to hang out and nest and breed and do their thing. So this is the little colony of king penguins. And of course, there's tons of these. I believe these are Gentoo penguins here.
Hatching zone.
And they're so funny
of the
because
Falkland
penguins,
Islands.
these are the young ones that are too young to swim. So they are just waddling around, and their parents are all out fishing. And when the parents come back, then they share the fish with the babies. There's a little picture of the cafe that they have set up there and the treats that you can get there. Those berries that you see in that jam are actually local berries that are harvested actually on the farm. Falkland Islands is home to several species of penguins, including the macaroni penguin, the rockhopper penguin, and the Magellanic. If you are a history buff, you might want to do a tour that would tell you about the Falkland Island War that took place during the 1980s. That's certainly interesting, and you'll learn all about the Argentine invasion and the British rescue. There's a place that if you don't want to do a long penguin excursion and go to Bluff Cove, there is a beach you can go to. You cannot walk down on that beach because the what am I trying to say? There were landmines put in by the Argentines. The Falkland Islanders have been slowly working to remove all the mines from their island, but there are still some that they are still working on removing. Maybe, hopefully, I mean, they are hopefully have them all removed by now, but that particular beach is an area where they don't want you to walk. But there's a trail up top where you can see the penguins from up top. All right, so next port is Puerto Madryn, Argentina. And there's lots of wildlife things to do there. There is a penguin reserve, and note that that penguin reserve is like an 8.5 hour excursion. There's Peninsula Valdez Wildlife and Nature. I do have a private version of this because Peninsula Valdez is the big attraction in this area because of all the unique wildlife that's in that area. Just a couple other things that are a little bit closer. Or further away, or a little bit more adventurous, but there's some, different things that you can do there. The shortest one is really this dolphin and sea lion navigation. If you are into dinosaurs, you can go to the Paleontological Museum that is in Trelew, is where that's located. You can also visit this Welsh town. You can do them as a combo. We just took a taxi cab. It was $100 round trip for the taxi cab to the museum. And then I think it was like $12 a person to enter the museum. And they had some really interesting exhibits about the dinosaurs that have been discovered in Patagonia. This is an important research museum. A lot of their bones get sold to, again, fund for the research, so they get sold to bigger, more popular museums like the ones in Washington, D.C. or Chicago or New York. A couple more penguins. There's lots of penguins. Our cruise director said that he talked to one of his guests in our 2020 cruise, and he said, well, how was your tour today? And he said, it was great, but there were too many penguins. How can you have too many penguins? I love penguins. So we're hoping that they will be on the Peninsula Valdez tour. I've always heard that you can see penguins there. One of the unique things about the Peninsula Valdez tour, and this is hopefully a behavior that we might be able to see, is that you see this orca whale right here. The orcas off of Peninsula Valdez are the only ones that body surf in to grab the sea lion to eat. I mean, circle of life, nobody wants to see a sea lion get eaten, but these killer whales are the only ones in the world that exhibit this behavior. And it's part of their social structure, and it's a learned behavior. So hopefully we'll get to see that. Of course, there's also other wildlife is in this area, and I forget what the name of this animal is, but it's a unique animal to South America and this part of the world. So just to give you a little idea, it is a little bit of a drive over rough roads to get to this area, but it is a national park. So there's lots of beautiful scenery, and it's very much a preserve when you visit there. If you want to do that Punta Loma Sea Lion Preserve, that is much closer. It's only a 36-minute drive. But again, our group excursion is the Peninsula Valdez, which is a 7.5 hour. There is a box lunch served. I felt like that was a better use of time than spending another $120 a person to do a full sit-down lunch. There's also an all-day tour that takes you up to Punta Tomba to see the penguins. So it really just depends on what you want to do, but I feel like the Peninsula Valdez is the most emblematic of what people do when they come to Puerto Madryn. So that's why I picked that one for my group. We probably won't have time, so if you're not doing an excursion, you might want to look into one of the restaurants that they have in this area. We had a lovely lunch in Puerto Madryn at this Cantina El Nautica, great seafood restaurant. Again, it's a tourist area, so beautiful restaurants there. Our next stop is going to be lovely scenic Montevideo. It's a really, really beautiful city with lots of beaches and things to see, but the winery area is just right outside of town. So here's some pictures of our tour of Montevideo in 2020. And this Mercado is right there by the cruise port. So even if you have a extensive tour, make sure you stop by the Mercado. There are wonderful steak restaurants. There's shopping, there's wine stores, there's souvenir stores, everything you could want in this little Mercado. And I asked the people that were at a little steak restaurant, what do you do when the cruise ships aren't in town? There's like, oh, all the local people come here when the cruise ships aren't in town. So it is not only a wonderful place to visit as a cruise guest, but it's also a great place where you can visit, or where the locals actually visit. So it's authentic. But we are going to have a winery tour, and this is exclusively for our group. They put it together just for the people in our wine group. So it's available to book now on the Celebrity website. If you have a booking on the cruise, you can go in and book this tour. It's going to be highlights, and it's going to be a wine tasting with cheese and bread. So you're going to be fed a little bit and get a complete tour of this winery. They also have antique cars there. So it's going to be a very immersive experience to do this winery tour. So now I want to look a little bit about Celebrity and what differentiates them. There's our beautiful ship, the Celebrity Infinity. And there's another picture. We sailed on her in 2017. She's one of their more mature ships, but you can look inside. Her decor is beautiful. All the soft goods are kept up to date. They replace the carpet, they replace the upholstery. So this is a lovely ship. It's a small ship, only holds 2,200 people. We sailed on her sister ship, the Constellation, in May, and it was right after we had been on a Solstice class ship. And I really felt that the ship was so much more intimate. I didn't have to walk very far to get to anything. Everything was close by. Here's a couple of the great bars throughout the ship. They have the famous martini bar that Celebrity has. They have the Cellar Masters bar, and I mentioned the martini bar. They have, of course, the famous flare show where they pour, I don't know how many martinis that guy's pouring, or maybe about 15 all at one time. Here's a look at some other spaces. They have a lovely observation lounge up on the front of the ship. And then the Ocean View Cafe with a whole variety of international food is located on the back of the ship. Again, the enrichment lectures, this is a picture I took when we went through the Panama Canal. So we had lectures about the Panama Canal. Of course, we're going to Antarctica. So we will have lots of, they usually have a historian and a naturalist. So the naturalist is going to be telling us about the flora and the fauna, and the historian is going to share with us like the story of Shackleton and some of the other expeditions that have been to Antarctica. Celebrity is famous for their world-class entertainment. They have full production shows that are like mini Broadway musicals. They have the very last night of our cruise in Montevideo, they brought on a troupe of Argentine tango dancers. So we were treated to an Argentine tango show, and very authentic. It's told the history of tango. The gentleman you see playing the piano is one of my favorite entertainers. I've gotten to see him a couple times. He plays a lot of beautiful arrangements of instrumental songs on the piano, very entertaining, and plays with a live orchestra. It's one of the things I love about cruising is the many, many different opportunities you have to listen to live music. The dining experience on Celebrity is always fabulous. I mentioned that earlier, just some of my favorites there. And then some of the specialty dining. So we will have a specialty dining luncheon in the Tuscan Grill. That is going to be complimentary to people in our group, and it'll be a food and wine pairing luncheon. That's what you see in the upper left-hand corner of the slide there. The room service is also good. You can see we're eating French onion soup there. They have a La Petite Chef experience. I'm sorry?
That's it was forks, no less.
Oh, yes, forks. Yeah. The soup's so good you can eat it with a fork. The La Petite Chef is an animated chef that makes your meal on your plate, and then all of a sudden the waiters come and the same thing that the little animated chef made appears on your plate as well. So it's a really interactive experience that they have in La Petite Chef. Celebrity will keep you busy. Those sea days, you will have fun things to do. Not only our wine tasting program exclusively for our group, but they do things like silent disco. They have trivia contests. They have a safe archery program. It's kind of like a bow and arrow, but it has a foam tip on the end instead of a point. They have sometimes that egg drop contest that you used to do in high school physics class. They have dance classes, fitness classes, nothing. You can do as much or as little as you want, and you will not have a moment where you are not doing something fun or relaxing. So I always say that, do as much as or little as you want. They also had matinee shows on the sea days. The ship has a lot of sea days. And about, 2 o'clock in the afternoon, you can go in the theater and see a live musical performance. That was a lot of fun as well. So now let's look at the cabins. So what I have available in my group to sell is I have 3 cabins, and I'll show you the pricing and the description of them, but they are all going to be concierge class or balcony cabins. This is what they look at. They're all laid out this way. The concierge class just has a little bit more room, a little bit bigger sofa. That's kind of the difference. So here is what I have left to sell. If you go and look on Celebrities, all the balconies are sold out. I have 3 cabins available to sell, and I have 1 cabin that is a concierge class, 190 square feet with a 54 square foot balcony. The price includes your drinks, your gratuities, and your Wi-Fi, and $100 onboard credit. That one is $72.87. I have a C3 balcony cabin with 190 square feet, and that one is $77.61. It includes the drinks, gratuities, and Wi-Fi, plus a $400 onboard credit. And these are actually very specific cabins. So basically I have this cabin, a specific cabin number allocated to my group. So I can, if you call me and we do a consultation, I can let you know exactly where that cabin is, and then you can book that one. I also have 1 2B balcony cabin. It is, I put this 170 square foot interior space. It's not an interior cabin. It is a balcony cabin with a 38 square foot balcony. I have 1 of these cabins. It can be booked as a quad for $10,323 or as a double occupancy at $7,081. Again, drinks, gratuity, and Wi-Fi, plus a $450 onboard credit. That is per cabin, not per person. But the drinks, gratuities, and Wi-Fi are available either not only to the first and second guest, but also the third and fourth guest as well. And if the third and fourth guests are not over 21, they get the complimentary non-alcoholic beverage package. So you can call me. I'll review all the amenities, the cabin locations, and the cabins are first come, first serve. I only have 3 of these to sell. So it's very limited what I have. You can book your flights with Flights by Celebrity. They have a wonderful air program. They have a low price guarantee. They have protection. They have guaranteed arrival. And you book now. Final payment for this cruise is due around the 25th of the month. So we can book your cabin, put your air on hold, and then towards the end of the month, we'll make your final payment for both the cruise and the air. People always say, well, how do you book Flights by Celebrity? Well, you call me and I can pull it up in the travel agent portal, or you can access it through your cruise planner once your reservation is booked, whichever works better for you. So a couple of the permanent health and safety protocols. I do need to take this one off because Celebrity has gone back to a self-serve buffet. but they do make sure that it is very clean. And in some of the areas, it is quick service, so you're not serving yourself in those areas. Muster 2.0, you no longer have to gather in a room and listen to the beeps go off. You can actually do your muster drill in your cabin on your TV or on your cell phone. And then on embarkation day, you just go to the embarkation point, or excuse me, the muster point. You do your check-in with your muster safety person, and then you leave. You don't have to stand around and listen to the whole briefing. So it does eliminate that. And I think it's so much more convenient. I wish they would have thought of it even before COVID. But fresh air throughout the ship. They have HEPA filters. They're cleaning and putting in fresh air through all the time. It's not a stuffy environment even when you're indoors. Okay, so everybody asks me, can I take this cruise if I'm unvaccinated? Celebrity has dropped all of their vaccination requirements. We are just waiting for them to formalize the agreements with the two countries the countries in South America. So it should be announced in the next 2 weeks. All of the countries that we're visiting, which is basically just Argentina and Uruguay, do not require vaccinations for you to come into the country. So we're not expecting to have vaccination requirements, but they do have some testing requirements. You do have to present a negative test if you are unvaccinated. And because it's a 14-night cruise, quite frankly, most, even the vaccinated guests are going to be required to present a negative test. Again, I said no vaccinations for most celebrity cruises. Pre-cruise testing still required on longer voyages, and these protocols are ever evolving and ever updated. So the good news is that we should have the protocols before the reservation would be in penalty. And if they are a week or two shy, I've been able to push out the final payment date and the penalty date for unvaccinated guests. So I don't think that's going to happen. I think we're going to have it for sure announced in the next week or two. Again, all of the deposits, if you're making a deposit with me, they are refundable because I have the group rates, which are refundable deposit rates. So even if we have to push past that final payment date, your deposit would still be refundable. You just need to bring your Vax card if you're vaxxed, or a negative test document issued by your testing company. And on Celebrity's website, you can find all the updated health and safety protocols, and they have it listed by country. They just don't have the South America ones quite finalized yet. So just in case you're curious about what else we have going, we have several cruises on the brand new Celebrity Beyond and the Edge and the Apex ships, doing Caribbean, Europe. Those are just some of our featured cruises that we have. We also do river cruising, and we're leaving actually this week to go on Avalon Waterways. But in 2023, we're doing a wine-themed one to Burgundy and Provence with Paso Robles Winery. And then in 2024, we just announced that we are doing the Douro River with Avalon Waterways and our partners again at Wilhelm Vineyards. And we will be escorting both of these cruises. If you are like the idea of an exotic exploration cruise, we have got of course, cruises to Alaska on multiple cruise lines. In 2023, we have an Arctic Circle polar ice cap cruise and a couple other ones with Holland America. Steve and I actually have a couple of expedition cruises that we're going on that are not on this slide, that include a polar expedition to the Arctic in Arctic Canada and Greenland. And then we have more of this is a crazy one. We're starting in French Polynesia, doing Easter Island, a couple of interesting Pacific islands. Then we go and do the Chilean fjords, and that is on Silver Seas expedition ship. So small ship, Zodiacs, very, very much an adventurer's cruise. We'd love for you to join us. The way that you're gonna book, and I think I was supposed to update this slide and never did. I think that price is a little bit off, but we saw the pricing on the other slides, and it is going to be certainly the trip of a lifetime. Not only will we make friends and have a wonderful time with our wine tasting program, but we're also going to see one of the most remote and least visited places on the planet. So I'm Suzanne. I'm going to go ahead and stop the screen share, and I want to open it up.
Just for reference, in
Yes.
our group right now, we have 34 cabins of folks going. So That's a nice size group.
Yeah, but it's not too big. It's just enough people that you'll make friends and be able to hang out, but not so overwhelming that we're going to feel like, oh, my group is too big to manage. So I'm going to stop sharing the screen, and then I'm just going to open it up to any questions that anyone might have.
Zahid still here, and then we had a couple that were watching it that did leave.
Oh, okay, okay. Or you can put them in the chat, or you can unmute if you have questions.
She's ready.
Hi, Sahid. I just wanted to thank you for the presentation. It was really nice. We are going to give a consideration. I'll probably be in touch with you if we decide to book it.
Okay, awesome. Okay, just remember, I only have 3 cabins, and it's very limited time. We have had some people that weren't able to attend this that have reached out and expressed some interest. So, call me first thing in the morning, and I can go over where the cabins are and get you on those cabins.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, we're just going to look at it in a little bit more detail. Thank you.
Okay, sure. All right. Thank you for coming. All right. Well, do you want to go ahead and stop the recording? I don't know if we're going to have any other questions.